Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Dr. Mahazi. And today I will present about my topic which are determinants of exchange rates in Malaysia. My name is Farah Nati Binti Mahmud and I'm from BA 2505A. So I will start with the first chapter which are introductions. So I will start with the background of the study. um, Exchange rate is why we want to study this research is to determine the major factor which can affect the exchange rates from all the independent variables we have chosen, which are interest rates, inflation rates, and exports. And in this research paper, we will use ordinary least square methods in this study because we will find out which one is the influential method that can be identified. So exchange rates is crucial in the level of trades in the country. Exchange rates and currency will be affected when there was interchange in their inflation rate. Next is problem statement. The problem statement we have is exchange rates is unpredictable and unreliable, and exchange rates in this country is heavily dependent. So that's why we choose this topic, because we want to examine what is the factor that will trigger the exchange rates in this country. So our objectives in this research paper is to investigate the macroeconomic determinants that affects the exchange rates, to examine the influence of interest rates on foreign exchange rates, and to explore the effects of inflation on exchange rates. So in this research, we have some limitations, such as time series data must be chosen wisely to make it uniform for each of the factors that are involved. And data for certain factor is not available for specific year, as when we are doing the research, we found out that certain year from 2018 and 2019 we cannot find data, and some of the data only have in ringgit Malaysia and not percentage, so we have to change it to percentage to make it uniform. So we move on to the next chapter, which are literature review. So the literature review, I will explain more about the independent variable, which are interest rates, export, and inflation. Interest rates are detected by nation market forces and monetary policies, and exports leads of demand for currency, and inflations, the declines in purchasing power of money will affect the exchange rate. So a conceptual framework we have here is we have chosen exchange rates as our dependent variable, and the independent variable that will affect the exchange rate we choose is export, interest rate, and inflation. Next chapter is chapter 3, methodology. So in this slide, we start with the research designs, and all the data we have collected are for 30 years from 1988 to 2017, and all the data collected are from World Bank and Central Bank of Malaysia. So plan for data analysis, we have three, which are descriptive statistic analysis, diagnostic test, and statistical model to be applied. So in the descriptive statistic analysis, we have choose to do mean and standard deviation. For the diagnostic test is VIF, zero correlation test, Durbin-Watson, LM test, and normality test. For statistical model to be applied is ordinary least square we have choose. So we move on to the next chapter, which are findings and discussion. So we have run 5 tests in our research, which are VIS procedure for multicollinearity issue, Ramsey reset test, normality test or residual, heteroscedasticity, which are white test, and serial autocorrelation LM test. So for the first test we have run is VIS for procedure for multicollinearity issue, and we found as all the IV and DV have no multicollinearity problem because all of the center VIF is less than 10. For the second test is Ramsey reset test. In this test, the p-value is more than significant value we have choose is 0.05. So it means that the Ramsey reset test is free from any significant bias. And for the third test is normality test and residual. The p-value is more than significant level 0.05. So it means that our data is normally distributed. And for the third test, for the fourth test is heteroscedasticity. Our p-value is greater than 0.1. We did not reject the null hypothesis, but this model is not free from heteroscedasticity problem. And it's also the same apply to autocorrelation because in this test the p-value is lower than significant level. So we have to reject the null hypothesis because this model suffer from autocorrelation or serial correlation problem. So and last chapter is conclusion and recommendation. So I will start with the summary of statistical analysis. In this research we have run, we have chosen 3 independent variable, and from the 3 independent variable we found out that there are 2 significant and 1 is insignificant. The 2 independent variable that are significant are interest rates and export, while the independent variable that is insignificant is inflation rate. So in conclusion, each variable it play different roles and will impact to the exchange rates, and some of them have positive relationship and some of them have negative relationship. So in this research we found out positive relationship are export and interest rate, while negative relationship is inflation. In this research we recommendation is we have some restriction such as restrict access. So if we found more research, it can improve our accuracy about the research of exchange rates. And in this research we also have 2 problems, which are autocorrelation and multicollinearity problem. And how to solve it, we can increase the sample size or use the partial least square regressions. I think that's all from me. Thank you.